of you. This happens in the last few weeks of spring semesters. And, this being the Easter week, it's actually spring break for public schools. Today, I want to talk about alternative designs for executive stock options. Remember, we talked about some issues that could lead to not necessarily direct to legal fraud, but for all intents and purposes, executives robbing the shareholders. So, kind of what can we do about them? I'll just talk about the designs today. On Monday, we'll talk about how to actually value them. Alternative designs for executive stock options. Now, remember the basic ESO design. This is pretty much common. Grant them the money. Vesting period of 3 years. And options expire in 10 years. And payoff is based on the value of the stock at the time of exercise. So anytime between years 310, they are exercisable. Let's remember the issues, some governance issues. Executives can time their exercise before bad news that they knew is coming. They know will be coming. Example, SVB CEO exercising options a week before collapse. I mean, yes, shareholders were completely wiped out anyway. So in that sense, he didn't rob the existing shareholders, but he exercised them and sold them in the market. So there were some people who were robbed because of him. Timing of or manipulation. Manipulation is a dirty word legally, but we know what we mean. Or management of earnings. Before exercise. So if you know you're going to exercise, you might as well announce the maximum profit you can. Market is going to react positively to that. You can get out. Some other issues that we didn't talk about. Remember, ESOs are essentially compensation, delayed compensation of executives during the vesting period. I mean, they are given something that is of value, but there's no market for the executive stock options. It's not like these guys can say, okay, go ahead and how about you buy these options from me? Since they're not allowed to short their own stock, they can't hedge it. Uh, since, at least accounting wise, they are being compensated for firm's performance during the what you want to call vesting period. If they do not perform well during the vesting period, but much later firm's stock goes sky high, you have a stock option with a strike of 100. At the end of 3 years, company's shares went down to 70. Whether it was your fault or not, the firm didn't do well, right? So you don't deserve to be compensated in a sense. But later on, you may have even left the firm after that. Because if you leave the firm after the vesting period, you still have the options. And the guy that came after you, did so well, firm stock price went to 300. So you're going to make a lot of money because of somebody else's performance. They are essentially being compensated for good work they have not done. I mean, it could be the same set of executives. Technically, I compensated you for what you're going to do for the next 3 years. Well, you sucked in those 3 years, but after that, either you got lucky or you got better. You're going to be compensated for that work. Is that kind of fair? No. That does not sound like a good incentive plan. So that's one issue. Another issue is what was the other issue? Oh, for now, that's all I'm going to worry about. Now, let's think about some design features that would help with these governance issues. The issues with timing can be handled using some type of averaging. On a given day, or even during a given day, stock price could be many things. But if you average things over a year or so, manipulating the average stock price over a year using earnings or timing is extremely difficult, since manipulating averages are a lot more difficult than manipulating daily prices. And technically, you can manipulate averages, but there's got to be some sort of legal fraud involved. You basically hide stuff from investors. You show earnings a lot more than they need to be by simply, cooking the books. Then you can manipulate earnings. For example, let me show you a stock. I don't necessarily believe that's the case, but I used to have some investment in this stock. This is called AI. This morning, this stock was trading at, yesterday morning, it was trading at 33.86. It is now $21. Okay. I mean, that's big. And if you look at the news, there's an attack by a short seller. Okay. These guys yesterday made a claim that one of their accounting practices is misleading or should be illegal. And they started shorting it. Since a lot of people had made money on this thing, in the last 3 months, this stock went from about $11 to over 33. Okay. There is a lot of accumulated profit that wasn't taken. When somebody heavily shorts it, people simply are running to get out of one exit. Now, manipulating something like this, daily price, is relatively easy. But manipulating the average is not that easy. Hence, there should be some type of averaging involved to calculate the payoff. When you design this sort of stuff, first you kind of do a rough picture. I mean, I'm not an artist, but if I was going to do a portrait of somebody, first I'm going to do a rough sketch, to figure out what it's going to look like. Then you're going to kind of do the fine print. So if you need some type of averaging, to handle issues with bad performance, we need bad performance during the vesting period. We should have performance during the vesting period play a role in the payoff.